EU foreign ministers are meeting to discuss policy and security issues. And with the war in Ukraine at the top of the agenda, they have set aside the afternoon for a strategic discussion on EU-China relations, given China's stance on Russia's invasion.
After the COVID-19 pandemic and in the midst of the war in Ukraine, the European Union is reviewing its relationship with China. Bilateral relations between Brussels and Beijing have deteriorated in recent years, the latest point of contention being the war in Ukraine, where Europeans reject China's position of neutrality.
China is indeed supporting the Russian war of aggression in Ukraine. They do that diplomatically, they do that politically, they do that economically. They even allow some of their companies to sell goods to the Russians that can be used in enhancing their armaments.
But there's still the consensus in Europe that the EU-China relations, which are largely based on trade, are simply too big to fail. The EU chief Ursula von der Leyen recently said there is a need to reduce the dependency on Chinese resources and manufacturing, but that cutting ties with China was not in Europe's interest.
And the Chinese government has received the message clearly from European leaders that relationship, that the EU-China relationship now passes also through Kiev. So basically, this relationship is determined by the actions that the Chinese will take vis-à-vis the war in Ukraine.
There are signs things could sour quickly. Brussels may target several Chinese companies believed to be helping Russia get around sanctions. And you can bet there would be a backlash from Beijing. Just this week, China's foreign minister warned his country would react strongly if the EU was to follow through on this.